Everybody loves walls. I know that. So kamayat. Yeah. Give, I'll show you where it is. It's further than that. Yeah. While I find out, you can look at everybody. Everybody says hello. Yes. Hello. Hi. Namaste. Very nice. Harihi Om and all that kind of thing. This is a room full of Pujya Swamiji's photos. This is where he used to have satsangs. And here we are. Very nice. Where you opened, yeah? Antarhridaya. You know, this is first book, darling. It's a second book. Second book. Not the first book, okay? Yeah. ॐ शन्नो मित्रशं वरुणः शन्नो भवद्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्भक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु भक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Somebody please turn on that fan. So we discussed last time. So for the people joining for the first time, just a small introduction into the section where we are, at which we are looking. So the section which we are looking at is called Anupravesha Shruti. Anupravesha Shruti, very beautiful section. Pravesha, wish to enter, pravish to enter completely and magically, Pravesha. And so Shruti means the portion of the teaching. Shruti teaching is called Shruti, and because it is heard. So the proportion of the teaching which talks about the entry. What kind of entry? Entry of entry. We have to permanently have our hands like this. Entry of Brahman into all the objects of the universe, so that what we are seeing, anything that we see in the Jagat, starting with our own body, mind, sense complex, is non-separate from Ishvara. Here Brahman means Ishvara because Jagat Karana, cause of the universe. Jagat Karanam Brahma. This is what we are looking at. And since this is a Bhashya class, Adi Shankara's commentary is looked at, and then from there we see all the small, small nuances that we won't have the time to see it in a regular class, for example, in the Bhagavad Gita class. And so, why are these nuances important? These nuances are important because for two reasons. One, they answer many, many questions about the teachings, about why and how Brahman entered. Entered means how. Just like I enter a room, this is how Brahman entered. For me to enter a room is already there. All I have to do is walk in. I have to open the door and walk in. But when Brahman, we are talking of the entry of Brahman into all things in the Jagat. Where is the Jagat now? Not there yet. Right? So, how is this entry possible? Who is it that's actually entering? All these things are going to be discussed in detail. So, first we started with the understanding Saha Akamayat. Saha means who? He. And what is Brahman? Masculine? Feminine? Neuter. How did neuter become he? This is the beauty of the Upanishad. Gender bender. Suddenly. Suddenly. And this is important again to note for two very beautiful reasons. The first reason is that the Taittiriya Upanishad is going along with is going along with what was said before. We may have forgotten what was said last Saturday. The Upanishad never forgets what it said before. This is the beauty of the Upanishad. First, it said what? Brahmavit apnoti param. The knower of Brahman indeed gains what? The ultimate. And ultimate means, of course, I want that. And so then there is a curiosity and akanksha is created. Kim tat brahma. What is this Brahman? I want it. And then Brahman was defined Satyam Jnanam Anantam. That which is existent, and existent, many things are there. Rocks are there, river is there, mountain is there. But how existent? Not as a jada, not inert, but chetana, alive, sentient, in the form of consciousness, not as a thing of itself, but in the form of consciousness that pervades everything, known and unknown. So it is existent, it is conscious, and conscious means what? It is all knowledge. That's how it is presented. Because consciousness and knowledge are totally interlinked, inextricably linked. Like, for example, if I say I am, that is an expression of what? Existence. I am means I exist. And then, if supposing somebody says, how do you know you exist? I know I am. So try to remove I know from I am. Can you do that? No, you can't do that. I am is equal to I know. And I know is equal to I am. Sat is Chit, Chit is Sat. From the standpoint of the individual, we say Sat, Chit, Ananda. From the standpoint of Brahman, we say Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. Because consciousness is knowledge, not knowledge of one thing or the other thing, knowledge that transcends knower known duality, knowledge that is beyond the knower and the known, that which upholds and supports the knower, supports the known without being either known or knower. That duality is not there, or the means of knowledge. If you can say duality, you can say the third thing, the three things also. What is that? Means of knowledge. Also, you can include 10 things. Brahman is not any one of them. And so this is the nature of Brahman. And then, having talked about the nature of Brahman and thrown a few breadcrumbs to us, What does the Shastra say? Yo Veda, the one who knows. Where? Nihitam Guhayam, in the cave of the heart. Heart is like a cave because it is full of darkness, ignorance, tamas, self ignorance. And in fact, it is not dark at all. It is the source of light, but I think it is dark because of my own ignorance. So, the one who understands this Brahman as the truth of oneself makes it aparoksha, makes it direct for oneself. This understanding, then sarvan kaman samyak ashnute, eats everything that there is to eat. Eats everything. Eats means enjoys. Ashnute, enjoys. Anubhavati, enjoys. Enjoys everything. What is everything? All the desires. All the desires are completely terminated because they are assuaged, because they come true in 1 second alone. They are all completely fulfilled. Why? Because just as we are studying in the Mundakopanishad, Kasminnu Bhagavo Vijñate Sarvam Idam Vijñatam Bhavati. Sarvam Vijñatam Syat. Knowing which everything is as well as known. And so here also, when Brahman is known, all the desires are fulfilled because the main desire was for Brahman, but I did not know that. Just like a child cries because it is tired and it wants to sleep, but it doesn't know that. It says, I want to play, I want to go out. And only the mother knows and says, no, this is not what you want. This is what you want. So therefore, the mother Shruti also leads us back to herself, leads us back to her lap where we are supposed to sit quietly and understand this rather than jump around and look for all other pursuits where one can get totally lost. Then after that, what has happened, we have seen this, so there is now a very nice thing to look forward to. So knowing Brahman, I will get all my desires fulfilled. Each and everything will be fulfilled. This is fantastic. This is wonderful. And then, what is this Brahman? Then suddenly, Brahman is turned into I, Atma. So Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahmana Saha, in the form of Brahman, gains all the desires. And then suddenly what? Tasmad va etasmad atmana akashas sambhutah. So suddenly it is turned into masculine. Atma. Why? The word is masculine. But there is a deeper meaning here. Not just the word, it is that the word is masculine, it is turned into masculine for two very important reasons. First reason is because this Atma means what? I. So first is, please know Brahman, please dispel your ignorance, and then you will get all your desires fulfilled. Okay. Then the next line, from me, the Atma, Akashaha, this space is born. From space, what is born? From space? Vayu is born, air, wind. From Vayu, what is born? Agni is born. See, Tattva Bodha has some use. That's why we begin with that. From Agni, what is born? Apaha, water is born. From water, what is born? Earth is born. From earth, this will continue further. From earth, plants are born. Plants is food. And then from the food, this body mind is born. This is how it says. So now that Brahman is quietly changed to Atma. From me, everything is born. So the first reason is to, now you cannot say Brahman, you have to say Atma. And if that is a far cry, you have to say Brahmatma, from the me which is Brahman. Because otherwise, if you say, I am the creator of space, where? In the head, that's all. Confused. Spaced out I am. That's the only, that's the only space I can create. And so this is not, it cannot be taken literally. And so therefore, Brahmatmana. From this Brahman, which is nothing but I, from this Atma, everything was born. So the Shruti remembers that it had already converted into Atma, and then here it says Saha Akamayat. Atma is that Saha. So this Atma alone, which Atma? Brahmatma, Akamayat, desired. And before we came up to this point, there are objectors who just put a stay order, like in the court cases, stay order, dismiss this case, throw this case out, Your Honor. Why? Because how can Brahman desire? We went through that a couple of weeks. How Brahman is Bhagavan. If Bhagavan also started to have desires, how can you tell me in the Bhagavad Gita everything is raga dvesha? Take care of your raga dvesha. Brahman has a raga. What? Akamayat, desired. And so how is this? Why is this desire is there? And so all that objections were nullified. So the objections are called Purva Paksha. Purva Paksha means the one that is, the person has no Shraddha while studying the Upanishad. So the person premeditates objections just to put a spoke in the wheel and say, you cannot study further, fail. Right here, right now, you cannot go further. This Upanishad is useless. Do other things. Or better still, come and study our philosophy. What is your philosophy? Everything is separate from everything else. See, so easy our philosophy is. Our philosophy is duality. Never the two shall meet. Ishvara is Ishvara. Jiva is full of peeves, Piva. Jiva is Piva. Ishvara is Ishvara. And the two are different. You can worship as much as you want. You hear the temple bells and you just keep worshipping, and then you will never be that. There is no oneness. How can there be oneness? Ishvara creates the whole world. You create confusion. So come, there is no similarity. Forget identity. There is not even a point of similarity. You just come to our side. This is what the Purva Pakshi wants, objectors. And it sounds convincing, especially when you study the Brahma Sutra. I tell you, some of the objections start to make a lot of sense. And then if you don't pay attention, you think that this is the Siddhanta, this is the answer. Very sneaky they are. And so come over to our side, because we are not trying pretentious. Vedanta is very pretentious. You say you are Ishvara walking around, and then you trip on a stone and fall down and break 2 teeth. And then you say, Ishvaroham. What is this? Ridiculous. We don't have any such problems. We say Ishvara is in his place, I am in my place, and you can at the most, you can have Sannidhyam. Sannidhyam means sit next to Ishvara and put an arm around Ishvara, take a selfie. This is called Sannidhyam. That's all. Sannidhyam means sitting near. When, I can sit near Ishvara right now. No. You have to die. Inconvenient, yes, but it is a truth. You have to die. And this is what it is. Now tell me one thing. Do you need to study for 12 years in order to know that you are separate from Ishvara? No. Because all this is our capital. Separation is our capital. Alienation is our capital. Disconnection is our capital. This is what it is. Capital Ajnanam. This is what is in our bank account. All kinds of notions of alienation. Ishvara doesn't love me even though I love him. This is the feeling. Feeling of being abandoned. Why was I born into this crazy family? This is the feeling. What was Bhagavan thinking? This is the feeling. How am I going to make sense of my life? This is the feeling. I don't need to go to Gurukula to say that to understand after a 3-year course. In the olden days, it used to be a 12-year course. Okay, yeah. So I don't need to go for a 12-year course to understand at the end of it. Okay, this is the valedictory. What is that speech? You have all done well. You will get your certificates shortly. What will the certificate say? Everything is separate. You are separate. Ishvara is separate. Everything is separate. Even the happiness of receiving the certificate is tinged with sorrow. Tinged with sorrow. You just say, I think, some vague sorrow. Can't put a finger on it. But it's like, I don't feel transformed. If you go to a spiritual education, you should feel transformed from within completely. And the transformation should be total. It should not be partial. It should not be, you are a spark of Ishvara, you are part of Ishvara, you are a little bit of Ishvara, you are 1/4 of Ishvara. Somewhere I heard. You are 1/4 of Brahman, quarter Brahman. Yeah. Who is happy being quarter? Nobody is happy being quartered. And so these are all what are the Purva Pakshas, and all of them Adi Shankara beats them with their own stick. You say, can I look at that stick? Oh, sure. And then nicely beats them with their own stick. Here, just in case, let me wipe it off nicely and give it back to you. And the person has nowhere to look. This is called Siddhanta, beating them with their own arguments. You don't have to bring, because their arguments are so flimsy, they fall apart. And when we see their arguments falling apart, our knowledge becomes much more sthiribhuta. Sthiribhuta means very certain. Our knowledge is steady after sparring with all these people. So you have to wear your boxing gloves, biff them little bit, and then you understand that, oh, now I'm no longer confused. Why this has to be this way? This is what we have been studying. And now the part of the Bhashya. So that was a quick catch up. I'm sure the people online also liked it, I'm sure, and they are not complaining anyway. And let's read the Bhashya. Really, they can't find it. These documents are behind one another, so I have to look for it. Yeah, Brahmanandavalli Bhashya. Here, if you are following Sanskritam, we are on page 280 towards the bottom. So that is the towards point number 82. If you are following English, it is page 54, 10th line from the top. Did you find it? Say yes, even if you don't want to. Give, I'll show you. You did find it? Oh, good. I thought you were just joking. Okay. Did everybody find? Yeah. Okay. So now, last week we saw that that Brahman desired, not Brahman, Brahmatma desired, Saha akamayat. And see, the kamayatritvam means the capacity to desire must be in a conscious being. Yes, no? Yeah. Don't start looking at messages, okay? This is not the time. Yeah, come back. This is the problem with digital, whatever. Yeah, devices. Devices and desires go together. So, last time we saw Saha akamayat. Ishvara desired. Now Atma has become Ishvara. Has become, always was. And here it's just the fact is being pointed out. This Brahmatma is presented as Ishvara. First reason is to show that that oneness, and to make a premise for that oneness. And the second reason, this is being talked about as a masculine, is to see that only a conscious being can desire. A rock will not have desires. Correct? And so the conscious being, the desire rests in a conscious being to show that it is masculinized. One more reason. And you don't have to worry, oh, Ishvara is only masculine. All you have to do is study the 6th chapter of the Chandogya Upanishad. It is always Sa. And in fact, there are 3 devatas there, 3 goddesses, not even one. And so there is no such thing. And then we have neuter, Tad Brahma. But this gender bender is on purpose so that you don't really get. Gender is a very, what's the word, primal identity. And even though all the Swamis' names end in Ananda, that is the reason. You're even supposed to let go of gender because it's all the same. But still, that gender is very difficult to let go of. This is the primal identity. Even before your name, you're either born a boy or a girl or whatever. And so that is very difficult to let go. And so that's why the Shruti keeps bending the gender so that one's orientation is not is always disturbed, so that one's orientation is not taken for granted. And then we saw how Brahman desires. It's not like Brahman's desires are not like our desires. What do our desires need? A lot of things to fulfill. One simple idli we saw last time. Yeah. So if you suddenly want idli, then what do you need? First you need rice, and then you need some udad dal, and then after that you have to soak it overnight, and some miraculous proportion you have to grind it, and then you have to ferment it. And then after that, can you make idli? No, you need those molds, idli molds. Okay, I have idli molds. Can I make idli now? No, you need a steamer. You need some hot water. You need a steamer. Okay, then can I make idli? Yes, but then if there is no chutney, what's the point? It's just so boring. And then, okay, I have chutney. Can I enjoy it now? No. Well, the stomach must be hungry. If you've already gone to Bhandara and come back and had puris, what else was there? Pakodas, and then some what is that? Matar paneer. No, but the sweet. Some sweet was there. Yeah, kheer. You have had all that, and then somebody gives you idli. You feel like throwing it at their face because you don't want it at all. So the stomach should be there. There should be space in the stomach. So this is all called sadhana antara apeksha, to fulfill a desire. But for Brahman, no such thing is there. And then all these Purva Pakshas have been killed off. And then now going further, the Bhashya says the following, point 82, just the last point on this 81, tad etat ah sah akamayat sah atma यस्मात् आकाशः सम्भूतः अकामयत् कामितवान्. Yeah. So tadetad aha. So now that I have made short shrift of all of you, this one Adi Shankara says, now let us go further and look at this. Saha akamayat. Akamayat means what? Kamitavan. This being, Saha. And then he comes out and says, Atma. This being is nothing but Aham. What kind of Aham? Not connected to any body, mind, senses. In the form of Satya Jnanananda Lakshanam. Satyam Jnanam Anantam. This is how it is. So this is what this is how the Atma, what kind of Atma, and he reminds us, even though we may have forgotten, he hasn't forgotten. Saha Atma. What Atma? Yasmat, from which Akashaha Sambhutaha. Akashaha means we have to take the whole train. Vayu, Agni, Apaha, Prithvi, Oshadhayaha, all these things. So that Atma, that self from which all these 5 elements And from the 5 elements, the 5 elementals, meaning the elements themselves are the cause of other things in the universe. All that has come, that Atma, not the one that is in this little body, mind, sense complex, this small feeling, the one that is full of smallness, this kind of I. Not this, but here, the one that is Satyajnana Ananta, that one. So, yasmad akashah sambhutah, from which the akasha, vayu, etc. has come. And so that's why this pullinga nirdesha, meaning the assignation of the gender of masculine, to understand that it's that same Atma, same Atma. And so earlier, this is also very important. Earlier, the when the Atma was seen as responsible for Akasha, air, earth, water, fire, not in that order, but you know, all the 5 elements, then there was there was an understanding. What was the understanding? Everything that has come is material. It's material, correct? Akasha, even though it is difficult to objectify, one sense organ, namely ears, can objectify Akasha. Like when you go in a place, the echo comes. You say hello, and then Akasha says hello back. And that's how you know there is space. And so this is this is what we know, that this all this Brahman, Atma, was seen as the material cause of the universe. Material cause. What do we mean by material cause? Upadana Karanam. And we'll see tomorrow in the spider example. Very beautiful spider example is going to come. Where? Yeah, in the Mundaka Upanishad. Okay. And you will see. And so Upadana means material cause. These are all technical terms. You can't do anything except memorize it. Okay. At least for the next 5 months. Keep it in your mind. And Upadana Karanam, meaning material cause. Material cause literally means the raw material. The raw materials we see. The raw materials for this body are the 5 elements. 5 elements themselves are raw materials that has come from Atma. We have seen that. And then the material cause means what? That the material for making, for example, pot. What is the material cause of pot? Clay. So if clay is there, is that enough for pot to come? No. We also need some intelligence. Okay. So once somebody was making they had an electric pot wheel. Okay. And so they were very skilled potter, throwing the clay on it, literally throwing it on the wheel, and then just going like this beautiful vase. Oh, you want a pot instead? And they just did like this, pachak, and then made it like a fat little pot. And or oh, you want a cup? And here, take a cup like this, and nicely threw, took it out of that wheel, and then just put it in the oven. Not called oven, it's got a kiln, yes, in the kiln, and all this, kind of an oven anyway. And then so, and then after that you paint it, glaze it, all these things. When they do it, it looks super easy. They are talking all the time, they're not even looking at it. Then they hand you some clay, put it in the water and give it you. You have a try. It looks like nothing in the universe that you have ever seen. Okay, you try to make it long, it looks like a ear. Okay, it looks like a donkey's ears. When she said, pull it. So I pulled it. It looks like a pair of donkey's ears. Yeah. And then I said, no, let me flatten it. I thought, okay, maybe making a plate will be easy. Wrong. You need skill, which obviously I did not have. Okay, not in pot making anyway. And so you need skill, you need planning, you need the know-how. All this is called nimitta karanam. So now we have 2 karanams. What was the first one? Fantastic. And the second one is nimitta karanam. Nimitta means the intelligent cause. That because of which is responsible for the design. Because the raw material and design have to be married together. One we call goddess, one we call Ishvara. There is no competition between them. There is always cooperation, there is always oneness, and you cannot remove one from the other. That's why all our Bhagavan manifestations of Bhagavan are happily married. Because it's the Shakti. That is the material cause. The Shakti along with the know-how together, they make this beautiful Jagat. The dance of this Jagat, last time we saw Tandava, Lord Shiva's dance, and then Parvati's dance, Lasya. Very nice, beautiful. So they are step in step, the goddess and her consort, or God and his consort, whichever way you take, it's all the same. Step in step, just this beautiful Jagat comes just from the intention itself, it is manifest. So we have now two things, Nimitta Karana and Upadana Karana. So in this cosmology, in this creation cosmology, first the Upadana Karanam was given. From this Atma, Akasha has come. It wasn't told how it has come. Who planned? Where is the planner? How to meet him, her? It wasn't, nothing was told. It was just told it has come from Akasha, Vayu came, etc., etc. And since it is Shruti and it is a Pramana, we say, yes, of course, because we have no way of knowing this otherwise. We can't check up. And Vayu is not available for conversation. Vayu, where did you come from? It's not going to answer. And so we have to just take it what it is. So the Upadana Karana was given, and now this Pullinga Nirdesha, making it he again. You know, the second reason why it is he is to show the Nimitta Karanam. Kamayat. Kamayat means there is some mental work going on. So if I want to make a pot, obviously that example which I gave don't take, because that was a disaster. But let's pretend I know how to make a pot. Let's pretend that I'm a pot expert. So then I will ask you what kind of a pot you want, and somebody will say, I don't want a pot, I want a nice long thin shapely jug. So first I plan the jug in my head and how much clay I need. This is just ifs and buts, okay? Yeah, this is not really happening, but still, just for an example, then I have to plan how much clay. Let's say there's a big lump of clay. Obviously, if I put it like this, it will not be jug, it will be jagat. Okay, it'll be huge. I don't want a huge jug. I want a small jug to give it to you to take home as a present. And so I have to mentally plan how much clay to take out, how much wetness it needs, how much water it needs, and in my head a shape would have already arisen, which then transfer from the head to the hands and then slowly get written on the clay in the form of the clay. So you see, the clay is the Upadana Karana, and the Nimitta Karana is the planning and the execution of the plan in tandem with the raw material. Okay, so this is what it is. So now the planning and execution has to happen in a conscious being. That's why the neuter has been converted to masculine. Otherwise, if Brahman, it is tat all the time, it came, it saw, it did this. Although in another Upanishad, in Taittiriya Upanishad, tat aikshat, it saw is there. It is there. But here it is being very beautifully converted to masculine, so that we have Nimitta Karana. In case we were wondering how Akasha became Akasha, Kamayatritvat, because this desire was there. Desire is a mental activity, and that means there is planning. So, and desire presumes knowledge, because you cannot desire anything that you do not know. And so therefore this knowledge come desire came into being. This much we saw. And then further, this what we read today is that Yasmat Akasha Sambhutah, that one Akamayat, kamitavan. Kamitavan means desired. Katham, bahusyam, bahu, prabhutam syam, bhaveyam, katham, ekasya, अर्थांतरा अनुप्रवेशे बहुत्वं स्यात् इति उच्यते प्रजायेय उत्पद्येय. Very interesting. So this Brahman had a desire. What was the desire? This Brahman had a desire. What was the desire? Bahusyam. Bahusyam means let me be many. Prabhutam syam bhaveyam. May I become many. And Bhashyakara is going to point out there's only one way to become many in the empirical world. Brahmachari becomes grihastha. Aham becomes avam, dual. And then avam becomes vayam. First I, then we both, and then we three, baby. Okay, that is the only way. Bahu bhavanam means the becoming many this is what we know. We have seen that in people, we have seen that in animals, we have seen that in plants. This is the only way we know. We don't know any other way of becoming quote unquote many. Correct? And so here is a very interesting dilemma. So then here there is no aham avam mayam. So then the bahu bhavanam, how does this bahu bhavanam takes place when the second person itself is not there? Forget the third person, putra, putri, child, forget. The second person itself is not there. So then, what is this? Did Bhagavan get married and have children? Bhagavan is already married. Maya is his consort. We have seen that. And we say that also. But here, we are looking at a very interesting question here. How can that which is without a second become many? And if this is called pravesha shruti, it entered into all aspects of the jagat. How can it enter when there is nothing there other than itself? That is the premise here, put beautifully in Sanskritam. Katham. Katham means how. Ekasya arthantara anupraveshe bahutvam syat. So ekasya arthantara artha means object. Artha is object here. So arthantara, another object. Anupraveshe. Anupraveshe means in the sense that how can I enter into another object when that other object itself is not there? Is there anything other than Brahman? No. If the other object is itself not there, how can I enter into something? I cannot enter into that at all. And so we have only one model, if we say, just like the Pita, father, looks upon the Putri or the Putra, the daughter or the son. How will the father or the mother, how will the parent look at the child as separate from oneself? That child has its own needs, its own timings, what it eats, what it does, all these things. It is a separate entity. This is how we look at in the world. But here there is no separation and there is nothing other than itself. And then you are calling this section Anupravesha Shruti, meaning this entry, the Shruti that talks of entry. Entry means there should be a room for me to enter, or there should be a door for me to enter. If there is no room, how am I going to enter? Where am I going to enter? So that means what? I have to first create the room and then enter. Okay, so what kind of creation do we know? We know only the creation that is separate from oneself. So if I make a room and then enter into the room, I don't say roomoham, I am the room. Can I say I am the room? No, I can't say that. The room is separate from me. I have built a house which has a room and I am entering that room. This is how we know. We know things as discrete actions, discrete objects, and discrete conscious entities going about their lives. This is a big, according to Adi Shankara, this is a big obstacle in understanding this particular section. And this is why he says that it is, we don't say, arthantara pravesha means entry into another objects. I can't do that here. Either one has to undergo some modification, and meaning I have to, supposing, let's say I enter the room in a certain form or something like that, and then that means I have to give up this form and enter into some other form. And that also is not possible for Brahman. Why? Because Brahman is avyaya, unchanging, not changing in any way at all. And so this is the problem. And so one way to help here is that we have to look at Karana and Karya. Karana Rupena Anupravesha. Karana Rupena, in the form of Karana. But here again, Adi Shankara is going to caution, and don't take this Karana also to heart, because what is the next line? Nahi putrotpatti eva arthantar vishayam bahubhavanam. It's not like producing a child, he says. The father is the Karana, mother is the Karana. So, Karana Rupena, one has created another being. We can say, Adi Shankara cautions, no, you are close, but you are not that close to the answer. You are close to the answer, but you are not really looking at the answer here. Karana Rupena, in the form of the cause, yes, it has entered, but this Brahman, this Brahmatma has entered the creation, because the creation is non-separate from itself. But if we look at the Karana, just like as Putra Utpatti, Utpatti giving birth, Putra to a child, or Putri. So then that is not the same kind of Karana, because that's the only Karana we know. So then what to do? Then he says something very interesting. Arthantara Vishayam Bahu Bhavanam. So Kim Tarhi? Then how else? Atmastha Anabhivyakta Namarupa Abhivyaktya. Very nice. Huge one, one long sentence. Long word, not what sentence. Okay. Atmastha. Atmastha means being itself. Being himself. Being itself. Being Atma. Not changing in any way. Atmastha. And then Anabhivyakta. Those things, the room that it wanted to enter is already there in an unmanifest form. Abhivyakta, manifest. And you add an un to it, unmanifest. See, even in English, manifest plus unmanifest. Abhivyakta plus unabhivyakta. Same meaning. So it was already there. This is why it is nimitta karana. This is why it is what is called the so-called intelligent cause, in the form of knowledge. That knowledge is there, the room is already there. Where? Unmanifest room. Unmanifest room is there. Like even the signature of the tree is in the seed. You just cannot read it. If you split the seed open and say, where is the tree? You will not see. It's not that you'll see a miniature tree. Some people, they have very special skills which nobody has. One person wrote the entire Ramayana on one grain of rice. Valmiki Ramayana. One grain of raw rice. wrote. I don't know with what he etched even. And then to see that even magnifying glass is not enough. You need some kind of a special microscope or some kind of a scope to see that. And it is there in some museum. In Delhi, I think it is there. One whole Ramayana on one grain of rice. So, but then if you split the seed open, you don't see a baby tree with leaves and how many leaves it will have, what diseases it will get, how many years will it be like that tree in Bodh Gaya, which was there for 2000 years, or will it just be there for a few decades and then die away? We don't know. But that is already there in the seed, the signature of the entire tree, just like it is there, Bija Bhuta, in an unmanifest form. Similarly, here, the room, supposing Brahmatma wanted to enter the room is already there. But it's already made. It doesn't have to be made brick by brick. It's already there. As how? As an idea. As knowledge, it is there. The only thing is, from here, it has to be transferred here. That's all. It has to be downloaded. We understand this. It is there in the cloud, and then it has to be downloaded. That's all it is. It's all software. It's amazing. It's all software. And it's just there. It's manifest. It's made. It is manifest. It is there. It just has to be abhivyakta. From a place of unmanifestation, it is now going to be in a place of manifestation. But then something is missing. What is missing? Space and time. That too is kept ready. Taiyar hai. It is kept ready. Unmanifest. From unmanifest to manifest, space comes along with the room, because what is a room without space? Time comes along with the room. Space comes along with the creation. Time comes along with the creation. And Brahman says, Om, Atha, I have done a great job. Look how easy. And why you are worried about one small thing? Lunch seva, dinner seva. What is this? Adhisthana cleaning seva, photo gallery cleaning seva. You get so stressed out for small things. And here, look, I've made the entire Jagat no problem at all. This is what is called Atmastha. Atmastha means Atmani Tishtati. So Atmastha it is, but here it's not even Tishtati. It is oneself. Atmastha. That which is oneself in a unmanifest form then turns into Nama Rupa Abhivyaktya. Through the Abhivyakti, through the manifestation in the name, in the form of Nama and Rupa. Now we have a form called room, and then it has a name. What is the name? Yeah, thank God. Some people are still awake. That is good. So the name is room, form is square or whatever form, rectangle, 10 sides, 5 sides, whatever it is. And then this is how the whole Jagat is from the unmanifest to manifest and back to a place of demanifestation. This is kind of sounding familiar. This is what you do in dream state. This is what happens. You think of mountain is there. You think of water is there. And suddenly you have a holiday, because place where mountains and water at the same time exist, it's a holiday place. Holiday is there. What fun is the holiday without friends? You think of your friends are there. You don't have to call them. You don't have to search for their number and call them, send them a WhatsApp message, nothing. It's all there. It's there in an unmanifest form. You think about it, it becomes manifest. You give yourself a body in the dream. The friends have a body in the dream, and the inanimate objects also have a body in the dream. And then what? Alarm bell rings. Time for puja. Time for some people. meditation, time for meditation. And for some two people, morning class, time for morning class. Means the other two have been skipped. Okay, I don't like to say all that. So the other two have been skipped, and so time for morning class. So at some point you have to wake up. If not morning class, time for lunch. At least that time you wake up. So whenever you wake up, what happens to the dream? It is cleanly wrapped up, anabhivyakta again. Goes back to you. And the friends are not really there. Otherwise, they would be in your room and they would be very angry. I didn't want to come to Rishikesh. Why did you bring me here? Why did you dream of me? They will complain. But the friends are as though there. And have you undergone a change? No. You did not become very thin. Why? Because part of you went to make the friends, 3 friends, let's say they were, part of you went to mold the mountains, part of you made with the trees and water and all these things. Now there is not much of you left. No. You are unchanged, physically intact, mentally intact. Maybe happier. You have a big smile on the face because you had a nice dream. The dream is withdrawn not by you, because the dream is within the Ishvara's creation. Your creation is happening within Ishvara's creation. So Ishvara calls the shots. That's why the dream, somebody told me this, that they had a recurring dream that they had won the lottery. Lots of money. And as soon as they took the ticket, they were going to take the ticket to get it cashed. A big Vayu came and took the ticket away, and they saw it fluttering every time. They said, "What does this mean?" I said, "That just means that sometimes we don't have good karma even in the dream." To see that money, even in the dream, we don't have good karma. Prarabdha karma is there. It's a recurrent dream. So the whole, we can't say the Jagat is a dream. No, here is where we stop. The Jagat has an empirical reality. Even though it's tempting to say it is Ishvara's dream, we don't say that. We don't say it's Ishvara's dream. Dream like we can say, because there are so many similarities about Abhivyakti and Anabhivyakti. Very beautiful. And then further it says, then not like Putra Utpatti, not like producing a child. Okay. Arthantara Vishayam Bahubhavanam. Arthantara Vishayam means all the things that have come is called the many, becoming many. And then it says, Yada Atmasthe Anabhivyakte Namarupe Vyakriyate Tada Namarupe Atmaswarupa Aparityage Brahmanaha Apravibhakta Desha Kale Sarva Avasthasu Vyakriyate. Very nice. And this is really the bread and butter of Vedanta, and put beautifully by Adi Shankara. And what he says here, Yada, when Atmasthe Anabhivyakte Namarupe Vyakriyate, when the unmanifest names and form Vyakriyate become manifest, Tada Namarupe, these name and forms Atmaswarupa Aparityagene eva Brahmanaha Apravibhakta Deshakale Sarvavasthasu Vyakriyate. When the unmanifest Nama and Rupa become manifest, then what happens? It is just a process of manifestation without losing itself. That's all it's saying. Without losing itself, the manifestation is taking place. There are two kinds of things. One is called Parinami Upadana Karanam. Parinami means there is a parinama. Like, for example, if you make milk into curds. Yeah, if you make milk into curds, parinami. It has undergone a modification. But here, Swarupa Aparityagena, without giving up its Swarupa. What is its Swarupa? Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, without compromising that, Rupantarapattihi, taking on, taking on as though the form of something other than itself, manifesting as something other than itself without undergoing any change. It's not like jam being spread on bread. You want to go on a picnic, 10 people are going, so you need at least 10 sandwiches, means 20 slices of bread, one bottle of jam, and you keep dipping the knife and doing that, and afterwards what? No more jam. If Brahman did that, Brahman would be in a very big jam. So that is not happening at all. That is not happening. There is limitless. It is its own ananta. It is not having any limitations, and this is all just through the nimitta karana that it is flowing. And so there is, just like in the dream, you do not undergo any change. No change has been undergone in the dream. You have not become thinner, you have not become anything other than who you are. And similarly, without giving up its nature in any way, Rupantarapattihi means the as though. That's why the as though comes, because what was it? When was it? Brahman. Before everything came, it was Brahman. Now what is it? Brahman. Later on, what will it be? Brahman. It will be always Brahman. That's why we can say what Nama, what Rupa. We don't see Nama Rupa, we see only Brahman. Just like we can say what pot, we see only clay. There's only clay, clay, clay all the way. So Vyakriyate, Vyakaranam. That's why grammar is called Vyakaranam. From that one dhatu, R, to take away. Look at all the things. Harati. Okay, then you have just the present tense. You have what? 9 forms. And then you have 10 tenses and moods. Don't become tense. Okay, yeah. So, moods and tenses. And then 10 tenses and moods. And so 10 into 9, 90 forms. Just verbal forms. Now we can introduce nominal forms. You can say, then there are many. Okay, and then you can say harah, let's say masculine form, bhanj. So masculine form you can have from hr, same thing, harah. And then that harah you can add upasargas, prefixes. Pratiharah, aharah, food, and the whole meaning changes. Praharah, beating, and then viharah, roaming. Upaharah, present. So many things, so many forms, just from one this thing. So this is all Vyakaranam, Vyakaranam, Vyakaranam. And then you can make nouns from nouns. You can make, you can make secondary nouns called Tadhita. Then you can add words together and make a compound. Samasa, not what you had yesterday, which was samosa. So this way, so many, it's endless. This is how, that's why it's called Vyakaranam. No, not an ordinary reason. It's just like the Jagat. Because along with the Jagat, we need the grammar, because the Jagat Vyakriyate, and this grammar also goes along with it and comes up with new names, new forms, new actions, new species to name. All these things are there. Relationships to delineate. We need all these words, and so this is how the Jagat has come. Or we'll see tomorrow, same place, same time. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Om Namah Shivaya.